Going to leave that one there because we're just 8 days away from June 1st, which is significant.
I believe in you, Deshaun.
In the NFL. Graziano, it's on this one, A.J. Brown.
Yeah, next week after June 1st, the expectation continues to be that the Eagles will trade wide receiver A.J. Brown. The Patriots continue to be viewed as the most likely destination. They waiting till after June 1st because it allows them to spread the dead money out over this year and next year, whereas if they made the trade before June 1st, they couldn't do that. They'd have to take a huge dead money hit this year, probably cut and restructure some contracts that they don't want to do. So I would say that we're sitting here this time next week. We're talking about being on the verge of an A.J. Brown trade likely to the New England Patriots.
All right, so we're going to keep it quarterback because is this going to be addition by subtraction for Jalen Hurts this season?
I believe so, and I think the last example we saw of that is when the Bills moved on for Stephon Diggs. I think, this is telling Jalen Hurts, this is your team, but you better show that you can produce. And this is a great opportunity also for Devontae Smith to prove that he's a number one receiver. Like sometimes, when you have a receiver that's asking for the ball, the divas, right, it distracts the quarterback in the floor of the offense. And maybe you can't run the offense because you got to, cater to his ego. When you have a team of good players, not great players, the ball goes where the defense dictates. So now it makes it harder to defend when there's no definite number one, but we think Devontae Smith can be that number one.
There was the timing of that article that came out earlier this offseason on ESPN.com about Jalen Hurts specifically, especially with the A.J. Brown stuff going on. So you're a front office, you're the GM, you get rid of the very talented receiver, you put it on the quarterback's shoulders. Is it all or nothing for Hurts coming into the season?
I don't know if it's all or nothing, but it's a really high bar in Philadelphia. We saw him replace Carson Wentz. They have a player behind him in Tanner McKee that they like. And I'm not suggesting that Tanner McKee's going to replace Jalen Hurts, but the concern I have is the size of the Philadelphia receivers. We have a graphic here. If you think about the receiver position, guys, as a basketball team, A.J. Brown's your power forward at 226 pounds. Now, look, Devontae Smith could be a number one, but look at the weight difference between the next biggest receiver. Last year, Jalen Hurts averaged 10 attempts per game throwing between the numbers. That was 28th in the league, thanks to Rias. So the question is going to be is who's going to take care of some of this heavy lifting for Philadelphia? Are they going to try to get the ball more between the numbers with new offensive coordinator Sean Mannion? So there are a number of questions. This is a big year for Jalen Hurts, just, again, given the bar in Philadelphia.
Look, he's signed for 3 more years. He's got $22 million in guaranteed money in 2027. So that feels like it locks him in. But to your point, the Eagles have a history of moving on, even from Super Bowl heroes, if they decide the time is right and it's not the right guy. So I do think there's a lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts this season. He has to learn a new offense yet again, as he always does. And yes, I think there's a big question. Devontae Smith, can he be a real number one? Physically, he doesn't profile that way.
What is it?
Isn't this so funny? I kind of just talked to listen, we talk about this literally every single day, but do you see how they're questioning Devontae? But this is what I always say, this is where I always say this, man, I always say this, and sometimes when I repeat things so many times I'm like, dude, are people going to just get mad at you for just saying the same thing again and again and again? But it's like, listen to what they're saying about Devont. They're like, he has to prove that he's a number one receiver, like I don't know, is he? And yet, like when Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl, they were like, well, he's got 2 number one receivers. And now here they are literally questioning that, right? Like now they're literally questioning that. And now they're even admitting that he has to learn a new offensive system every single year. So it's just like, doesn't Jalen Hurts then deserve so much more praise and benefit of the doubt? Like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Before I go any further, Philadelphia Eagles fans, please, please, please do not forget to subscribe and watch the full length of the video. When you guys do that, views go through the roof. Subscribers go through the roof. And it's not about chasing views. It's not about chase subscribers. It's about being able to create Philadelphia Eagles content that people genuinely want to watch and discuss, so we can keep having the most unbiased, grounded, genuine conversations about the Philadelphia Eagles. It goes such a long way. So, please do consider doing that. I'd really appreciate it. But yeah. Wow. Okay. Now we're talking about the height of the receivers and the size. I mean, they want this team to be fast. They want to get the ball out of Jalen Hurts. Like, they want this to be a quick, fast, like I always hike throw, hike throw, hike throw, hike throw. Like, they are going to try to play a different style of football. They want this to be a completely choreographed offense. They want this to be all within structure. Like I always talk about within structure, within structure, within structure. Everything is going to feel inherently schemed. Like that is what they're looking to do here. At least from my viewpoint. And that I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that. It's something that Jalen Hurts has not really been able, it's not really been an offense that he's been able to run. And it's not a matter of just like, hey, we got to have a really big, strong, tall wide receiver on the outside so we can throw him deep 50-50 balls. Like, that's not what they're looking to do right now. That's not what they're looking to do. They're looking to fundamentally change how they play. And it's going to have flavors of what we've seen the Detroit Lions do, with like Amon-Ra St. Brown and whatnot. What they do with Kyle Shanahan and stuff probably a little bit less McVay, but. Or Matt LaFleur, like where we're going to see all different flavors of that, and the reality is this we're yet to, at least to my knowledge, I'm trying to think real fast, we're yet to really see that style of offense run by a quarterback like a Jalen Hurts who can also use his legs. And I've been saying this to Jalen since last year of like, it's not that I want you to run less or that I want you to run so much more than what you've done in the past, but it's just like it's okay to take those 4 yards. Like for the life of me, I don't understand why last year we saw every quarterback just essentially like really not want to run. I made the joke all last year that it was like, and it was hilarious joke. Everyone always laughed. That it was like they all just went to a seminar and they all got convinced, okay, we're going to run less. And it was just like I get it. The future is not in you running, but like still take those 4 yards. Still take those 5 yards. Like, still just get the positive yards. Like, that's okay. Just get the positive yards. And it's like I'd still love to see that be part of this offense, right? It doesn't always have to just be, a big run or a constant like I'm going to, put my head down and run 12 plus times. Like, it's not about that either. But I am really fascinated to see what this style of offense can look like because 1, the run game is going to improve. I believe and 2, I think the passing game of course is going to improve. And when you have that combined, I think it'll be utilized. As much as I thought Kellen Moore did a really good job and the O-line obviously did a fantastic job and Saquon Barkley and everyone else involved, it's to me when they decided to have Jalen run like it really was so much more of like we're putting the ball where we're putting the decision in Jalen's hands right for him to do his RRPO where he's either going to keep it and throw it or give it to Saquon. I'm really interested to see how Sean Mannion tries to set the run up for the sum of the moments for Jalen. Some of these designed runs, some of these ways of how to just again make it more schemed, make it a little bit less decision making on Jalen Hurts' part like that. I'm excited to see if we see some of that development there as well because I think that's awesome. An ass. Everyone's so hyper-focused about the whole throwing in the middle of the field. And the reality is that there's still other aspects for this to kind of develop. The other thing that I wanted to bring up real fast because they were talking about addition by subtraction, etc., etc. And like there's been a handful of takes obviously about A.J. Brown and about like he's loved in the locker room this that and the third and all of that type of stuff and that A.J. Brown was causing problems but like no one ever really spoke against him. That's because I think like Nick said it or whoever said it was like that's because more people agree with A.J. than they do Jalen etc. etc. And the reality is, and we obviously know that then Jalen Hurts got completely, his name got dragged through the mud. This whole off-season isn't really. The reality is that no other player has really ever had any problems. No other player. No one. No lineman, no running back, nothing. No one. You don't hear past players Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift, like none of them. None of them. None of them. None of them. You don't hear it. The only one that has actually truly fundamentally had a problem is A.J. Brown. And they can really love him. I'm sure A.J. Brown is a ton of fun to be around. And I'm sure that he's got so many close friends in that locker room, etc., 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 which then always makes it a little bit uncomfortable, blah 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 blah. But this idea that just like A.J. Brown spoke for the team. He spoke on behalf of everyone, but then everyone else just stayed completely silent, it doesn't really make sense. Especially when apparently they tried to paint the picture that like they make fun of Jalen. They call him like little MJ or whatever, or that that he thinks he's too cool for school and that he thinks he's, better and that he's better than he is, right? Like all the other nonsense that we heard. And it's like if the players all felt that way, you think they're going to be shy. Like really? Really? You think the players are going to be shy? Like are we serious right now? Like those players are you're not going to ever feel that or ever sense that we're never going to see any of those interactions take place on the sideline except we only ever saw it with A.J. Brown. You understand the math, not fully math in there. So, it really does to me have a huge potential to be addition by subtraction. Now, with that said, Jalen Hurts absolutely has a target on his back. So, it's not so much that this is a make or break year for Jalen, because this is definitely something that again we talk about all the time, but this is something that I've noticed in football. This is something I just noticed in life, but especially football, where players can kind of hop around. They can get new coaches or they can go to a new team or whatever. Like once you're tagged as the problem, it's really hard to shake. It's really hard to shake. And ironically, we saw that with Carson Wentz is probably my favorite example to use, and I've probably used it plenty of times, but he leaves Philly, which was obviously the right decision, all that. So, it's nothing to do with Jalen and Carson, that's so nothing to do with that. But he goes to the Colts and he actually plays really well, and he did not have a great team, and he had a head coach who's not even a head coach anymore. Obviously Frank Reich, and he actually was really successful. He actually had a really good season, but they lost and he didn't have a great final game of the season, and they said get him out of here. The owner was like, get him out of here. This guy's out. And it was like he was not the problem, but he was kind of used as part of the problem, seen as a problem in Philly. And again, he's not the best locker room guy for whatever reason. And so, it's I'm not defending him in that regard, but he kind of got this target on him that then he went to the Washington Commanders, and it was like that team was an absolute mess. The coach, Ron Rivera, a mess. Mess. But they were no, he's the problem. He's the problem. And it was no, your whole team is a mess. Your franchise is a mess. Your coaching staff is a mess. He's not the problem. You're all just a mess. You're a mess. You're a mess. You're a mess. And so, it's just and it's so hard to shake that. And so if this offense is not great, if the offense isn't consistently successful, right, if you have a half that nothing else feels really productive or whatever, Jalen Hurts just has that target on its back. And I don't know if he ever really shakes that. I really don't, because a part of me believes that kind of once you have it, you have it. I mean, just think about this last year, how we know that there was all these problems with this offense, the O-line, the run game, etc. And yet Jalen Hurts and co-coaching Jalen Hurts got the brunt of the blame. He got the absolute brunt of the blame. Yet I just did a video a couple days ago about Jared Goff, and they're well, the old line was really bad, and they had to fire their coach, and although Gibbs had a good year, their success rate was not good, and I talk about success rate a lot, and it's the percentage of yards you get first down, second down, third down, fourth. So it really shows you like when are you converting downs on the ground as well as are you able to set up the pass game, and then they pointed out like they had a really low success rate and that so you were in a lot of obvious throwing downs, and it's like that's exactly what happened to Jalen Hurts and Eagles, and yet we don't hear any of that defense. I gave it, but you certainly didn't really hear it that much in the media, and it's like because Jalen has that target on his back. He's got that target on his back. And so it's just like I don't know, like even maybe if he wins the MVP, like maybe, but then if he has a bad year or the offense looks disconnected, they'll say this is who Jalen is. He's really he's really inconsistent. Look, he's either the MVP or he look at 23 and look at 27. Right? But like sure we have 24 and 26, but like like it'll just be like this is who he is. Like it'll still be centered around Jalen Hurts to the core of him as a quarterback. That's what my gut tells me right now. That's what my gut and the way how I look at it too. Jalen Hurts could win another 2 Super Bowls. I think the only way that happens is if the team's great, because I think that's how you have to do, that's what you have to do to win any Super Bowl. No matter who your quarterback is, your team has to be great. Go ask Los Angeles Rams. Go look and see all the things that they're doing to win a Super Bowl. So, like if Jalen Hurts even gets to be a 3-time Super Bowl winner, the team will be awesome. The defense will be awesome. He's already had unbelievable quarterback performances and he still doesn't really fully get credit for it. So, even if he wins another 2 Super Bowls and has awesome performances, they'll still say, yeah, but like my lemon had 2,000 yards, and then they'll use the yak against me and be like, look how much yak my lemon is. You only use it against Patrick Mahomes. Why not use it against Jalen Hurts? And I'll be like, I'm not. Yak is great. I'm happy my lemon's getting all that yak. Hooray. Shout out Sean Mannion for finally making it happen. So, but it'll still be twisted. But I also think that, this offense, and I don't the clip in front of me, is when I talked about it being more schemed and choreographed, like it's just been the opposite of that. It's been the opposite of that. And what's, Darius Slay really highlighted that and pointed that out, and that's why he said like AJ Brown is better than people realize, because like he's not being schemed open in a way that say like Justin Jefferson is, or etc. etc. And I remember highlighting that clip, and I think I made a few clips using that highlight, and it's just like they blame Jalen Hurts for that, and you realize that really makes no sense, because and Gay Coel's talked about this as well, that the Eagles have very much run an offense where it's just like manna. It's like we got the guys. We're just putting our guys in a position to just beat your guys rather than we're trying to kind of like out-coach your defense or out-coach. It's just like we got the squad. It's just, one-on-one, right? Unknown. What do you got? We're going to bet that AJ is going to be your defender, whatever it may be. And that's worked well in the past. And then when everyone is in their absolute prime and they're super healthy and ready to go and you have it all connected together, it's like that works well. But when it's not that, we see what happens, right? We got a front row seat in what can happen. It's really difficult to overcome. This is just going to be the first time in a long time that's not going to be their foundational approach. Their foundational approach isn't going to be, well, we know my lemon's like, really fast and is great at contesting. We know that it's going to be more schemed, and the reality is that if you think Jalen Hurts was the reason why they couldn't do those things, when I don't know if Darius Slay would have even brought that up, you wouldn't have even tried to he would have tiptoed around it. He certainly didn't, as well as you can't be a quarterback in the NFL. You can't be a quarterback in the NFL to think that you would be able to survive it's pretty insane. Like people always say this, oh, he can't read a defense. It's like he wouldn't be able to be in the NFL for all these years if he couldn't read a defense. Like what? Like when people say I can understand if you said about like a rookie or something, or like a first-year starter, but like once you've won a Super Bowl, like once you've been to a role, like it's not possible. You can't be that inadequate at quarterback and still somehow win. I don't care how great your team is. I don't care how great your O-line is. I don't care how great your coach is. Like, it wouldn't be possible. You'd be exposed. Defenses would expose you. Defensive coaches would expose you. And it would be again and again and again, and you'd be run out of the NFL. You'd be out of the NFL. And it actually makes me think, and I'll end here, what Reggie Miller said about SGA, where he defended him about the flopping, and he's like, this guy is shooting 50% plus this two-time MVP right finals winner. He's like, you can't say that's all because of flopping and free throws. Like, you can't have that type of production. You can't have that type of field goal percentage, etc. You can't have all those things and it just be flopping. And however you feel about flopping is irrelevant, because you can't say that all of Jalen Hurts' success is just because of roster. It's just because of what's put around. Like, you can't have the type of success that Jalen Hurts had. So that's what makes it even more exciting, knowing that there's still potential to be unlocked that we have just not been able to see. Whether it's because of roster construction, whether it be because of coaching, I have no idea. Maybe a combination for whatever reason. Probably coaching more than anything. And probably because the other stuff is just working. So it's like, yeah, AJ Brown can win Onion. Great. Let's do it. It's working. Right? If it's not broke, don't you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Right? Is that an expression? I'm good with expressions. And so yeah. So like that's what makes this year so exciting. And if you look, if you could just get past your own bias, if you can just get past your own bias towards Jalen Hurts, just watch his glides through fresh eyes. Just watch his highlights. I understand they're highlights, so they're going to be great plays, but you see some really, really awesome play. Just go back and watch the NFC Championship game and you know that the defense is going to force turnovers. And that's why I tried my best to go through those games as deeply as I can. And it's like, just watch the game unfold. A lot of times, sometimes it's easier to watch a game again when you already know what's going to happen. When you already know everything that's going to happen, you already know the outcome. You get to just really watch and you get to really marinate and be like, oh yeah, the Eagles were down by 3 in this moment. Oh, and that was a big play by Jalen. You know, whatever it may be. It's like you get to look at it through a little bit clear eye. Sometimes a game, cause since I watch all the games, and like sometimes there's games that like I have it spoiled because I see the score in the corner, or they do a game break and they'll be like, oh, so and so just scored a touchdown to win the game, and I'm like, oh, well, now I know. And it's actually really interesting sometimes to watch the game and be like, wait a second, they're down by 17 and there's 4 minutes to go. Like, what the heck happens? Is it a pick six? Like a blocked field goal that's return? Like, what actually happens? And then it actually allows you to kind of zoom in and reel. Why analyze in a way that you normally wouldn't have, right? Because you're going to be a little bit more focused, in that moment. And so like I just encourage you to just like go back and just watch some games, and then the games that also the bad games, the bad habs, go back and see how they unfolded. And if you think that you can just circle Jalen Hurts and just be like Jalen Hurts is the problem, you're confused. I mean, go back and watch the Buffalo Bills game and listen to Tom Brady break it down and discuss it. Tom Brady does not do any favors for quarterbacks. He is not there to pander to any fan. That is not his style at all. I would say that that's not the style of any of the commentators out there these days. Not Greg Olsen, not Tom Brady, not Romo, not Collinsworth. Like, I think they all do such an accurate real-time analysis job. I really do. I'm on and like go watch that game with Tom Brady. Listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying about the throws. And that was during a half where I think they either had 0 yards or like 1 completion, whatever it was, and you'll see, oh, like that's not Jalen Hurts' fault. And listen to Tom Brady because I made a video taking Tom Brady's audio and I did that and I said, listen to what he said. Made a whole video about it and you'll realize that those types of moments were throughout the whole season and you're potentially not only solving that problem, you assume you're solving that problem. But then you're also solving the pressure and the intensity of a quarterback of a player who's like me. I'll definitely end here where it's like A.J. Brown from my viewpoint. He's become that person. We've all had it. Maybe you were that person, but like we've all had it where like you're with your group of friends, you're with your boys, whatever you're doing, you're hanging out, you're in a basement, you're in the living room, whatever, and like someone else comes over and it just changes the vibe, man. It just changes the energy. You can love them to death. They could be your best friend, but it just changes it. It just sinks that energy. Just sinks that vibe and you feel it and then you feel tense around it. It's the same thing like if you're in a, with a group of friends or family or whatever and they're in a bad relationship, they're just like, maybe they're married, whatever it is, and you just know, man, at any given moment this is going to blow up. You're all just walking on eggshells. You're all just like, oh no, what's about to happen here? And it's like, that's the energy that A.J. Brown brings at this point. Doesn't mean he's a bad person. Doesn't mean that he's terrible. Doesn't mean that he didn't contribute and help the Eagles win. Doesn't mean, that he's not a good person. All that type of stuff. It's just how it's become and how it's unfolded. And to me, it makes sense to give the guy the benefit of the doubt who is willing to literally do whatever he needed to do to win. The man willingly had a statistical season that people laugh at in 2024. They laugh at it. And throughout the whole course of the season, not once did he just say, you know what? I'm just going to take over and just do it all. I'm going to call these audibles. I'm going to do this. These are poses like, I'm keeping myself. I'm doing it. Like, he didn't do it. Not once. Not once. This is literally the man that is willing to do whatever it takes to win. And you think people are going to have a problem with that? Are you kidding me? Like that is the utmost respect. You are drilled as a kid. There's no I in team. And it's just like and Jalen Hurts like completely personifies that. And anyone who then wants to take the side of the me guy. Come on now. That's crazy. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jalen Hurts? Will he prove his critics wrong this season? And how, like the question says, how does Jalen Hurts prove his critics wrong? Is it even possible? Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions, get into some fights, but ultimately let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.